Stephen A's idiocy is the reason why I remain relevant, despite all the forces working against me and Fearless and what we do here. I remain relevant because these people are so stupid and so cowardly that I'm your only source of consistent, authentic, intelligent, brave sports commentary. Stephen A is some sort of retard that they gave a thesaurus to.
That's crazy.
This man, he flunked fourth grade, and they tried to hold him back, and he acknowledges in his own book that he had a high school counselor laugh at the thought of Stephen A going to college.
Jason Whitlock called Stephen A. Smith a coward. Whitlock had a lot to say about Stephen A. Smith. Check out what he had to say, and then I'll come back with my comments.
And so he, yesterday, again, because he's a coward and he's willfully ignorant, he's basically complaining about me. How dare Jason Whitlock? He won't say my name because he's a coward. But how dare guys like Jason Whitlock, who I won't name, how dare they say, use this Joy Taylor thing to argue that women don't belong in this industry, and oh my God, women just need to stand up, and why are they being so silent, and Joy Taylor is so professional. Here's a little clip of Stephen A. Smith yesterday talking about me and complaining about me while he panders.
And here's the thing. People need to understand that's one of the reasons that you might not be hearing anything from her, nor Skip Bayless or anybody else, because they can turn around and sue. And they got their, I mean, think about the allegations that have been thrown out against them. Think about, the need that they may feel to retaliate. And as a result of that, I think that is even further requirement for people to be careful. But let me tell you why I wanted you on here, Tori, because I have to admit, I'm pretty pissed off. Now, there's a few people's names I'm not going to mention because, damn it, they ain't worth it, okay? And I get that. But there's a few men out there that are acting like, this is the perfect excuse to justify why we make the argument that women don't belong in the industry, which is an incredibly egregious thing to say, okay? They'll look at any woman sitting in a host chair or any woman that's a reporter out there or any woman that has to walk into the locker room, and all of a sudden their credibility is being questioned. My thing, what I'm more appalled at by, rather, even that, is the women all over social media that are allowing it most egregious, Tori, is the abundance of women out there who are laughing, who are pointing the finger at Joy Taylor with a profound level of guilt as if they know. Even when they throw in the word allegedly, they do it with smirks on their face, sort of dismissive, because in this business, we know how to speak with our body language, not just with words. And not only that, they're using it as an excuse to question her credibility. Now, I don't know what happened, but let me tell you what I do know. I know that I've seen Joy Taylor on TV a lot over the years, and I think she's pretty damn good. I think she's very capable. I think she's worthy of the position that she has on Fox Sports. I think her podcast with Taylor Rooks is a damn good podcast. I think her credentials in this business have been established.
Here we go again with the simping. Stephen A. Smith, I know you're corporate. I know you're at ESPN and Disney. I know I sound like a broken record. Y'all probably heard me say this plenty of times, but it's a part of Stephen A. Smith's contract. He has to take this position. He has to pander to women. And if he has a good point, cool. But he's being extra when it comes to Joy Taylor. He can't really express himself with these type of topics, because if he says anything as close to what Whitlock is thinking or has said previously, he's going to be suspended by ESPN, and he's not going to get that $100+ million contract that he's after.
So this is what I mean when I say people are installed and they're idiots and they're there to distract you. And like, how dare I question the credibility of Joy Taylor? Stephen A., I've questioned your credibility in the strongest way possible. To sit here and to pretend like, oh, I've only questioned Joy Taylor or women, are you kidding me? I've questioned the entire industry.
Facts, he did.
That this is all a rigged up system to promote idiocy.
Whitlock been standing on business for a while now, even over the last few years since I've been watching the Fearless podcast. he's been exposing what's going on with the mainstream media, corporate media. So for, Stephen A. Smith, the Cam Newtons, and just people in that realm to just throw shots at Whitlock, yeah, he may not say things how you may want it to come out, but it's coming from a place to where he's just trying to expose it, talking about Joy Taylor. People don't like it. Yeah, she got the big cans and the peanut butter skin, and people can't get past that. Whitlock is saying, you know what? I'm going to just pass on all this. I'm going to stay in my lane, stay far away from Joy because I know what this looks like and I know myself and I want no parts of it, but people still judging Whitlock and really taking all his words out of context, especially over this Joy Taylor situation.
And to promote willful ignorance, and so that people are in denial of the facts and the truth. And so, yeah, if you're going to have a Stephen A. Smith, you got to have the Joy Taylors of the world.
Yep.
You have to take something, sports, that have been dominated by men, conversations about sports, which have been dominated by men, and you have to inject feminism into that conversation so that men like Stephen A. Smith will talk like women. And he does that regularly.
Damn. Here we go. Y'all
And
ready
I've
for this?
pointed it out that this is the problem with all of these guys. They get around a woman, and the next thing you know, they start pandering. And if it's an attractive woman, oh my God, there's no limit to what they won't say.
You hearing it with Stephen?
And so Stephen A. Smith, upset with me, can't really talk about it because he's scared of me. I get it, but I'm trying to. This is how uninformed Stephen A. Smith is. Because at one point, I think in one of these clips, he mentioned something about, and we got to make sure that that's part of the clip. We got to make. He mentioned something about Joy Taylor and Taylor Rooks doing a podcast together and how great it is. And I'm just like, oh.
This is the pandering that Whitlock is talking about. Again, Stephen A. Smith, you got to pander, you got to simp, whatever you want to call it. That's what he has to do. At times, Stephen A. Smith, he wants to kind of cross that line into a different type of thinking. But at the same time, he always gets reeled back in to the corporate media way of thinking. You're never going to get Stephen A. Smith true, authentic self as long as he's under that corporate media structure. It's just not going to happen. It can happen if he wants to get the multi-millions and be on TV and Billboard and all that great stuff. He's going to have to continue this point of view until he's out of that corporate media structure.
This dude's so uninformed. And again, if you're going to make that reference, Stephen, at least recognize, and the show's been canceled. They walked away from each other.
I heard about that. Marcellus Wiley brought that up. So that show that Stephen A. Smith's a fan of that he probably didn't watch any episodes of is canceled. So Stephen A. Smith, he's just reading the script. This is why Whitlock and many people that, had to thinking of Whitlock is like, this corporate media thing is rigged. Like the way that people are thinking, the messages that they're putting out there, they're just a puppet. And Stephen A. Smith, you work hard, not taking anything away from you, but your way of thinking sometimes is off.
So no matter how great you're pretending and lying to think that this show is great and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't even exist anymore, Stephen A. You're so freaking uninformed. It's embarrassing. And your point of view is so, you're so detached from biblical wisdom that you sound like an idiot and you say stupid things constantly. And I thank God for it, to be quite honest with you, because as I said at the very beginning of this, Stephen A.'s idiocy is the reason why I remain relevant, despite all the forces working against me and Fearless and what we do here. I remain relevant because these people are so stupid and so cowardly that I'm your only source of consistent, like authentic, intelligent, brave sports commentary.
Yeah, that's true. As long as there's people like Stephen A. Smiths and just that way of thinking, Whitlock is always going to be relevant. Again, people don't like Whitlock. He may have said some things in the past that may have rubbed people the wrong way or may have said stuff currently that rub people the wrong way. But at the end of the day, he's coming from a biblical standpoint. Not saying that he's perfect. He's on his journey. Same with me as well. I got some working to do, but you got people like Stephen A. Smith and Whitlock. They're always going to butt heads because Stephen A. Smith, he has his way of thinking, and Whitlock, he has his way of thinking. So they're kind of like on two different paths. But I ain't going to lie, it would be good to see Whitlock and Stephen A. Smith had that sit down. You've seen Stephen A. Smith bring up people from other networks that may have different type of thinking, but he's able to be on good terms. So why can't you be on good terms with Whitlock, or at least be cordial? I want to see that conversation happen ASAP.
Or just commentary about the world. Look at what I'm competing against. This Stephen A. is some sort of retard that they gave a thesaurus to.
That's crazy.
This man, he flunked fourth grade, and they tried to hold him back, and he acknowledges in his own book that he had a high school counselor laugh at the thought of Stephen A. going to college. Anybody that worked with Stephen A. at the Philadelphia Inquirer and early in his career, when he was trying to be a writer, guy wrote like at a 6th, 7th grade level.
Nasty work.
And the editors are rewriting everything for because he's propped up and installed. But Stephen A. he's not built for this time we're living in terms of this combat that's going on between the patriarchy and the matriarchy. And that's why I'm so despised. Because it's like, no, there's a battle over dominion, over leadership between men and women. And I want to make it crystal clear. You can choose whatever side you want. That's America. You can be for the matriarchy. But I'm going to make it crystal clear. You're out of step with what God intended, what God wants. Don't call yourself a Christian. Don't pretend to be a Christian. If you're pro-matriarchy, if you're pro-women in power and leading, if you're pro this feminism that is absolutely destroying America, Black America, we've been destroyed. Because we hopped on board with feminism and female leadership from the get-go. Now it's just destroying the rest of America. But the results are all in. And I'm tired of the people pretending like, well, it really wasn't feminism and blah, blah. If we had just, men this and white man that and Christianity this and evangelicals that and black men are no good and blah, blah, blah. So you can choose whatever you want. But you're just letting everybody know, hey, look, I'm really a Satanist. I really have that demon. I may not even know it, but that's why a lot of people reject this show, is because like, oh, I'm going to make you know it. I'm going to let you know exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, so that was Whitlock calling out Stephen A. Smith for being a coward. Again, I don't know if he's a coward or not, but he has to abide by the rules of corporate media. Again, if you're on ESPN, Disney, you have to have a certain type of point of view. Everyone has to be aligned at that network. If you step out of line, you're not going to get a contract renewal, or you may be fired on the spot and they'll just pay you to sit home until your contract expires. So Stephen A. Smith, again, I ain't got no issues with him. I don't know him. I'm just reacting to what I'm seeing out there. He's going to stand up for Joy Taylor. He's going to be pro Joy Taylor because that's the point of view and opinions he has to have as long as he's under the corporate media umbrella. And that's just what it is. So either he's a coward or he's just playing the game. This is the game he wants to play. Whitlock's calling him out on it. Don't know if they'll ever be cool or cordial, but again, I want to see those two have a conversation, really go back and forth. Everyone took shots at each other. It would be cool for them to have an interview or just have a debate or anything. I just want to see those two go at it because the point of view that Whitlock has and the point of view that Stephen A. Smith has, that's a recipe for a great debate. But we'll see if that ever happens. But until next time, peace.